Hello crafters and welcome to P2PCrafts online show, brought to you by From Picture to Page and Beyond Craft Show, our scrapbooking, mixed media art and papercraft community. I'm your host, Tamara Habris, lover of all things inky, sticky and sparkly, and I'm excited to be joining you today. P2PCrafts online show brings you over 30 demonstrations and interviews with our talented retailers and guest artists. For all of the details, head over to our website fromPictureToPageAndBeyond.com.au, where you can find all the up-to-date details, plus links to our sponsors and guests. While you're there, make sure that you join our email list so you can be the first to know about all updates for upcoming events, plus see the links to all the replays so you won't miss a thing. We'd like to give our thanks to our sponsors, Darkroom Door and Uniquely Creative. Darkroom Door is located on the central coast of New South Wales. They are a family-owned and operated business, and they believe in supporting independent craft stores. They create unique red rubber stamps and stencils, and through their blog, videos and workshops, Darkroom Door inspires stampers and artists worldwide. Uniquely Creative are passionate about making beautiful stamps, dies and embellishments. Through their Creative Kit Club, they specialise in creating kits with matching papers and products, so it's easy to create your projects at home. Now, whether you're watching on Facebook Live or watching a replay on Facebook or YouTube, we'd like to know you're here. So pop into the comments, say hi, ask any questions you may have, and we'll do our best to get them answered, or we can go back and answer them after the session. So let's get started. P2PCrafts online with Cathy from Eclectic Images. Now, we actually don't have Cathy from Eclectic Images live due to a technical difficulty. She hasn't been able to get her Skype connection. But again, thanks to technology, we're going to be able to show you a video that she'd pre-done. Now, Eclectic Images has been around for a long time. Cathy basically started, her sister started designing stamps for her with beautiful figures, faces. And Cathy's very artistic. So she started doing these creations and has branched out over the years to have her own range of stamps, which you will have all seen at craft shows. She has a great range of Australiana stamps, and she is fantastic at making scenes from her various stamps. She often has little tins of Australiana stamps, which has a shed, a house, the windmill, a couple of animals, birds, all that sort of stuff, and she just makes wonderful scenes. So Cathy will actually probably be joining us on the comments, so if you have anything to ask, please pop it in there, and if she doesn't see it live, if she's madly driving somewhere, but she shouldn't be, she should be able to answer them all. So I'll just play you the video and we will see how we go.
Hi, I'm Cathy from Eclectic Images. Welcome to Glamour Galore. This is the second one in our series of 3, which is featuring our wonderful glamorous ladies close-up stamps and the beautiful versamagic inks. So here are our ladies stamps. We've got Ashley, Miranda and Greta, and for today's demo we're going to be using Greta. So Greta has a lovely little heart-shaped face with a frangipani flower as well as our words, and again our words are in the same fonts in all 3 sets of ladies, that way you can interchange them however you like. Okay, now our inks are the versamagic chalk ones, and the 3 that I work with most, the Sahara Sand, Jumbo Java and Pink Petuna, is where we'll start today. So again, these chalks inks, I use them because they give a lovely velvety skin tone, but also they dry waterproof, and we're going to be doing some watercolouring over the top with some of these, so you'll see how important that is. I'm going to use the Versa Fine Black to do my basic stamping. So this one dries waterproof, so again we can do watercolouring over the top without anything smudging, and it gives us a really nice crisp black image. Now, because I want to put the frangipani in her hair, I'm just going to work out first where I'm going to put Greta. So I'm using my stamping platform. So we're just having a look where I might like to put her on the card and where I might like the frangipani to be. Now we could do a series of them by masking the frangipanis. We might just do 2 on this one today. So let's pick up, so it's going to seem strange because it's going to pick up both, but it means we've put the frangipani in the right spot. Okay, So let's ink that up. So just tapping on with my VersaFine ink. And a nice press. And we've got a lovely inking first time, which is great. Give it a bit of a wipe. Now, just going to work out where my next placement would be, and I can cover this one up with a mask that I've already made. Just got to work out which bit's which on the mask. So this is where I've just stamped it on a post-it note and then cut it out. Okay, there we go. So now I'm thinking I'm going to put the next one up about here. So pick that one up with our platform, leave the mask in place, ink up, and stamp. Check that we're happy with our image, and I am, so I can lift that mask out of there. So now our second frangipani is tucked in underneath the first one. Now we're going to need to mask both of those before we put Greta in there. So back with our little masks. And of course, once you've made little masks like this, it's a really good idea to keep them until you've absolutely worn them out. I might have that one slightly run the wrong way. There we go. That's the petals fitting better. Excellent. So now we can position Greta back over the top, and look that we want that first frangipani to be just tucked in behind her ear. I don't want petals coming down over her eyes. So I'm just positioning her in there. Excellent. And of course, picks up the masks. So you got to place those back down again. It's a little bit fiddly, but it's worth it for the effect that you get. Really worth it. Okay, place one. And the other. So let's ink Greta up now with our VersaFine Onyx Black is what I'm using. Press down nice and firmly. The lovely thing about using something like a platform or a MISTI is that you don't have to worry about shaking and knocking your image. Now I haven't inked that well enough, so I'm going to ink it again. I'll just check that my card is still sitting nicely into the edges of the platform, which is where I put it initially. Ink up again, a little bit more pressure over the eyes this time, making sure I've got plenty of ink on there. Make sure I give that a nice push over there to make sure I've got contact everywhere. I'm still not coming out quite enough. I'm going to risk moving the magnet out of there. Let's ink her up again. It's hair and eyes that I'm missing a bit of. Okay. Let me just stand up and give that a really good push in case the table's sagging a little bit, or something odd like that. Much better. Now I'm happy with it. Okay. Put my platform to one side, and let's bring it back and lift those masks off there. And we've got our 2 little flowers tucked in there. Now let's go over that with the heat gun. Make sure it's really dry before we start doing any colouring, because we don't want to risk smudging those inks. We could just leave it to sit for a while. The VersaFines dry fairly quickly, but because we're doing lots of smudging, that can upset them. And particularly if you're using something like the VersaFine Clear, that takes a little bit longer to dry, so definitely do a little bit of a heat dry if you're wanting to move ahead quickly. Okay, now once again, the same as I did with the earlier video with Ashley, I have made masks of Greta. So we've got one for her face and one for her hair. I will start off with the face one. So we position that over her. And pick up our Sahara sand. And just start off on the mask and then gently shade onto her. Actually come down between the eyes a little bit. Don't be afraid if it doesn't look like anything's happening. Believe me, you're getting plenty of ink on, even if it doesn't seem like you are. Lots of colour. Now we're going to put the hair one on. Actually, no, I'll do a little blush first. So we'll close up the Sahara sand, bring out the pink petunia. And this time I'm switching to my number 8 size brush. Just ink the very end of the brush. And again, I can work with the mask on and work from the mask and just gently shade in. Or I can actually pick up the ink on the brush shade it in there. And if I want to do a little bit down her neck, just put some pressure on your brush and you can just wiggle it in there. We can just shade a little bit around her forehead, just giving her a bit more warmth. And I think I'm going to come in with this Sahara sand. We've missed her ear a little bit. Let me just give her ear a bit more colour. That would look a bit odd. Just take off any excess of my scrap paper and just brush over her ear a bit there. Now with this Sahara sand, if we wanted to, I could deepen some contours around the place. Take off any excess. We could go along under the jawline a bit. So just by putting a bit of pressure on the brush, we can butt the edge of the brush up to the edge of the line that we want. And then the other bristles are actually blending that colour down the neck for us. If we wanted to, with the same colour, a little bit on a smaller size brush, we could actually come in and just give her a little bit more contour. Down the sides of the nose. So you can play around with how much highlighting and contouring you add. That's totally up to you. Now we're going to come in with either, you could use your small brush again, or we could come in with an eyeshadow applicator. Just pick up a bit of the pink petunia, again, just the end of the brush, or the end of the sponge. If you ink the whole sponge, you'll lose, like we do with the brushes, if you ink the whole thing, you lose the advantage of having this clean area that helps to do the blending for you. So just end the sponge in, touch it off on your scrap, and then we're ready to come in nice and close to her eyes, and a mixture of smudging back and forth or pulling up, and you'll put some lovely colour in there. Now I actually want the pink to come up a bit higher, so I'm going to add a little bit more in. Actually, I want even more on this side. But to get that outer area, let's pull that up quite a bit more. That's better. Give her a lovely warmth. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of our Jumbo Java and deepen her eyes a bit. Let's put a few lids on, which has got my hands going right in front of the camera. Sorry, Matthew. Let's grab another little eyeshadow applicator, ink up the very end, and this time I'm going in closer to that lash line. And we might add a little bit underneath as well. So for anyone who loves playing with makeup, you'll love working with our ladies because you can just keep contouring and stuff. Just remember that it's hard to add a highlight back in. You've actually got to leave your areas lighter that you want highlighted so that because you're continually adding more colour. It's very hard to take it away unless you do, which we're going to finish with this one, and add some glitter into it, and that will give us a highlight. Okay, let's do some colouring in her hair. And for that, we're going to grab a little bit of, let's go gingerbread. So this is going to give her a soft brown. And we'll pick up a brownie brush. So this is where we could put the hair mask on if we wanted to. If you're not confident about not going over your edges, pop your mask in. Or if you don't want a mask, just take the excess off on your scrap, start your circles, and then just sort of lay the brush down and push it up to the edges. So notice I turn the card around so I can push it to the edge on the other side. And I'm just going to scruff out to there a bit. Okay, let's bring a bit down to there. Now if you find you're getting it a little bit patchy, that's okay because hair has texture. We actually want to have some lighter and darker areas. Now, with my little flowers, I actually don't want to get any gingerbread over them, so I'm going to mask them again. So I can now colour over the top of them without a little bit of the flesh tone over the flowers would be fine because that's going to cover up easier, but if I get this darker colour there, it's going to make it harder to colour those flowers in. And I'd like them to be lovely soft frangipani colours. Also too, we want to be able to really dab a little bit of hair in on the other side of the flowers there, which would be difficult without the masks on them. Push the brush down and I can put some right up to her neck there. Turn the card around and we can buff it out a bit. Okay, now while I'm doing the gingerbread, I'm just going to do a little bit of shading around the edge of the card. Now this is easier with the number 10 size brush, but certainly not impossible with the 8. She's looking a bit gorgeous with that eyeshadow. Okay, let's put our chalk pads away now because we're going to give that a heat set and then start doing some watercolouring. So let's lift those out. So again, we could just leave the chalkings to sit for a while and they would dry fine on their own. You don't have to heat set them, but I want to speed it up so that I can do some watercolouring without everything smudging. And this is where the chalk pads really come into their own because you've got that lovely velvety skin texture, but now when we do our watercolouring, nothing's going to move. So let's add some little bits of yellow into the centres of our frangipani, and I'm using the Pentel colour brush markers here, which are a dye ink. They're water soluble, and it's got a lovely brush tip end, which means that I can get lots of fine colour just where I want it. And then I'm just going to use my water brush just to blend that out a little bit. Now I turn the card around so that I can get the tip of the brush right up against the edge that I want as the crisp edge of colour, and then my water brush will do the rest for me. And the difference between the brightness of this colour compared with the softness of the chalk inks is going to create a lovely contrast. Move on, give the next one a bit of colour. And you can imagine with these frangipanis, you could also do a chain of them around her neck. You could also do bigger flowers. We've got a bigger frangipani, or I'm actually going to try her out with a little bit of our magnolias and do like quite a base of flowers around the base of the card. There's quite a lot of really pretty stuff you can do with her. Let's give her some pink on her lips. Now if I don't cover the whole lips with the pen and I use the water brush for some of it, I can end up with just that little bit of highlights and shadows, which is great. Now what colour eyes should we give her? I think sky blue. So just put in a bit of colour, and I'm just going to move it around a bit with the water brush. And just maybe deepen it off down below there. So just use my water brush just to tease where the colour's softer in where I've done it a little bit darker. Sometimes you don't need to use two colours. Sometimes you can just use one colour and just use it softer in one area and darker in another to get that highlights and shades happening. Okay, now hopefully we've got time to do another one because I have another plan. So let's do a quickie. Okay, grab another bit of cotton blend cardstock, and I'm going to place my Greta where I want her. Let's just get her off the cleaning mat. And we're going to be using our Thistle Zen is the one we're using. So I want her right over to the edge, and our thistle is going to wrap around. We might be getting a bit of a Scottish feel here. Okay. Now I can see where I hadn't got the stamp, because I'm rushing, I hadn't got the stamp completely clean. So I'm going to have to make sure that I put her jawline back where there's a little bit of ink there on the card. And I actually don't really want the stem of the thistle, so I'm just going to wipe that off a bit. Okay, let's stamp that down. Obviously something going on with my table here today, because that's the second time I've stamped and not got the whole of the image coming out. Just check that my card's still sitting nicely in the corner of the stamping platform. And we're going to stand up and give it a good push. Still not 100% happy, but we don't have all afternoon, so I'm going to keep going. Let's mask that. Hopefully once we get all our colour on, it will not show that I'm not 100% happy with that stamped image. card back down in the corner. Mask is on. Now let's place Greta in there. Pick her up with the platform. And of course, pop the mask back in place. It's always going to pick up with her. Okay, ink her up thoroughly. Give a good push on those areas that I had trouble with last time. Okay. So I've got this thistle now wrapping through her hair. Clean in a moment. Okay, let's give her a quick dry with the heat gun. Now, because the thistle's got such dark stuff coming into her face, I'm not going to be too worried about getting a little bit of soft colour on that. Let's switch to wheat as our foundation colour, which is going to be very, very soft. Find a brush for wheat. And we're going to shade in push my brush down so I can get right up to the edge of her face there and the edge of her neck. Okay, now let's switch to Malted Mauve just to use some different colours to what we've done in the previous card. So Malted Mauve is a lovely pink, a little bit more earthy than the pink petunia. But I can use the same brush that I did with the pink petunia. So let's just mask that edge of her face, which will make it a little bit quicker for getting on our blush. Excellent. A little bit over her eyes. Okay. Give a bit of warmth down her neck. And we're going to come in with a little bit of brown just to do that area closer to the lash line. Again, just ink the very end of the sponge. Tap off any excess. I am hurrying a bit with this one, so this is where I'm very likely to make a bit of a blunder. Okay, let's give her some hair colour. What should we go with? Maybe a little bit of red brick. So you can see you can use your masks over and over again. This one's starting to get a little bit scrappy. Okay, lift that out so I can sort of see where our edges of things are. We might need a little bit down in there. brilliant. Now we can give that a heat set and then start adding some watercolour through our thistle. So let's do a quick dry. So pick up the purple. And I want to actually make more of a mauvey colour, so I'm just going to colour it onto my work pad there, and then pick it up with the water brush so that it's a little bit softer. Let's add a touch of blue there as well. That's more the mauvey colour I wanted. And then we can come in with a bit of deeper blue at the base of that. Now, a stamped image like this thistle, it's got all these wonderful patterns in it. You can spend a long time creating a lovely coloured image, or we can just grab a thicker water brush and we're going to start splashing some colour on there. There's the one I want. Okay, we're going to use the same fine water brush because I don't know what I've done with the other one that I was going to use. So let's get some colours and just have a play. So pop a bit of green on. Now we could just spritz it with a bit of water to get a bit of movement happening. We can come in with our water brush and tease it out. Let's add some yellow in there as well. I'll just give my card a bit of a spritz underneath to stop it curling too much. Add some yellow in here too. So we're just going to do a bit of a rainbow of colours. And I'll just come in and just tease a bit with the water brush so that it just starts to blend together and smush a bit. What if we have a bit of green? Let's add a bit more green in there. Got a bit of our sky blue. So here I'm not minding, I'm not doing a precise colouring, I'm doing a bit of a wafty colour, so I actually don't mind if we get a little bit smearing outside the stamped image. What do we need after blue? A bit of pink. More pink, I think. Let's bring it out a bit more. Don't you love some of the patterns in there? And then let's come in with that mauvey sort of tone. So again, I'm going to put a bit of purple on here and then add some blue to it because it's just a bit of a pinky purple and I want more of a bluey purple. So I can pick that up from my mat there. Fabulous colours that just blend so easily. Tease it out, let a little bit be outside the edges of the image. Don't squeeze your brush too much. Now, let's bring some of those colours into our picture. So let's bring in some mauvey colour to her lips and to her eyes. And we're just going to add a little bit of pink in with the mauvey colour on the lips. Just so it's different to the eye colour. See how cute's that? Now of course we could shade around the card. We could also add some lovely glitter in there. We could finish off with a bit of glossy accents. So a little bit of glitter along her eyes would look great. So I'm just going to I'm just squeezing a little bit and then using the nozzle to spread it out a bit. That same glitter, we could do some swirls through her hair. We could add some liquid pearls and things into the thistle, or more glitter there. Sky's the limit. How pretty is that? Let's bring it down over. I'm going to scoot it in front of Matthew, let him catch up, so we bring both cards in together with the black backing, which will make them stand out a bit more. So we've got our first Greta with just a couple of small flowers, and then getting a little bit crazier with our colours, just to show two very different looks but with the same stamp and the same ink types and pens. Fabulous fun. Okay, thank you for being with me for this one. Please join me for our Glamour Galore 3, in which time we were going to mess around a bit with Miranda. So thank you for joining me for Greta, and we'll see you soon.
Hi everybody, wasn't that a fabulous demonstration? I could sit and watch Cathy all day, and let's not kid ourselves, I have sat there and watched Cathy all day at shows, because we've often paired up when doing some of the regional shows. Now I was about to tell you that I was totally devastated not to be able to talk to Cathy, but through the magic of technology she's now sitting in a car by the side of the road to have a quick chat with us. So let's see if this works. Hi Cathy, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Tamara. This one's been a drama, hasn't it? But we're here.
It has,
good.
but I'm
the video.
Yeah, so pleased that you're able to join us. It was kind of going to be the highlight of my show, because it's been so long since I've seen you.
I know, it's like that for all of us, isn't it? And a big thank you to Jackie for answering all those questions for me. I'll have a look at all the comments later. But yeah, thanks for Jackie for keeping on top of it for us.
Yeah, no, that was great, because I was thinking, can I type from where I am? I thought I'm not going to touch anything, because the way the day was going.
No, we don't want to fuck with the technology. Don't mess with it.
Exactly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So anyway, look, great demo. So that was your number 2 in the series, and I believe you're having a third lady demo.
Here's a third one, which features Miranda. And poor Miranda, she's the one that I always mess with. So we've got a third one that does a Halloween look and a face painted look, and that will be loaded up onto our YouTube channel next week. So if you go to the Eclectic Images YouTube channel, and we'll load up the two from this show as well. So you'll be able to watch them either on the P2PCrafts or on the Eclectic Images YouTube.
Oh, well, that's great, because a few people were asking how to watch them. So, yeah, it's always good to know that you've got multiple choices to pick from when you're having a mental blank as to where to go. So,
yeah, no, we'll have those all up over the course of the next week.
Yeah, okay. Now, you usually have some specials on at the end of your...
We do have some specials for everyone. So we have a special on our ladies. If you're purchasing if you're purchasing the 3-pack, you're basically getting 2 ladies plus an extra one at half price.
Ooh,
so that's the website as a 3-pack. Also got a special with the versamagic inks, and if you again order a set of 3, you get an extra one for free.
Okay.
And choose the colour. So in the comments section on our checkout page, there's a order note section. You can write in what colour you like, or people have called me or emailed me to say, what colour do you think I should get? That's fine. I'm very happy to work out what colours go with what you've chosen. And we've got we've got our brushes on special as well. And we'll also, anyone who's doing an order, we're going to put in a free set of those little makeup applicators so you can do all their eyeshadow.
Okay, yeah. And you were talking about doing a makeup video, weren't you?
Say that, talking about eyeshadow, yes, we've got a plan after yesterday's class to do another video with the ladies, and this one will be done as a makeup lesson for all of us, but I'll be showing it on Miranda or Ashley or whatever. Yeah, so we'll go from a nice soft day look through to some evening glamour with lots of hints. I've been a makeup artist for, I think it's about 30 years, so I can give some tips on good things to do with makeup and how to do a nice soft look and then build it up. So we could have some real fun with this one, I think.
Sounds good. You just have to work out a marketing strategy to get it known. So, all right, well, you've made my day by being able to sign in on that. So thank you very much. And it was a great video, again, as always. And I look forward to catching up with you at some time in person
Oh,
this
that'll be
year.
yes,
This year is my goal.
everyone. Okay, thanks very much, Tamara, and thanks, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Cathy. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, well, that was just lovely to have a chat with Cathy. I was just going to be so devastated. So for all of those specials, the lovely stamps, the three lady stamps, some of the brushes and some of the ink pads, jump onto Cathy's website, eclecticimages.com, and I think there's an AU there. We'll put the links on the bottom of this video. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time. This is Tamara signing off. Have a crafty day, everybody.